Hey, it's Jacob, back on a video. This video I'm going to be showing a beginner's guide to Bison Season 2. So I want to explain basically to the people that probably have played Bison Season 1 but don't really have a good guide or basically good tactics of what to do in Season 2. I want to just make a video of that. This was a requested video. Someone was asking for a beginner's guide to Season 2 Bison, so I'm gonna try my best. I might explain some stuff that's already probably been explained, but just to make sure, I do want to explain that as well. Alright, so let me go over the basic thing that a lot of people struggle with when they're using Bison. The one thing that you're gonna counter first when you start playing online is struggling with people who jump a lot. So you're gonna face people who jump a lot on you when you're doing pressure. That's basically how a lot of people, try to counter Bison, After block string's over, they're gonna jump. No. So after pressure, they're expecting you to do a psycho axe. A lot of Bison players want to go back into the pressure, so they do a psycho axe. The problem with that is that if you're just carelessly throwing it out after a block string, you're gonna get punished. Right there, you get punished for it. Someone jumps in on you. Go from here, punished for trying to do that. Do this, you try to go on more pressure, you get punished for it. The thing is, they get a complete jump in on you just because of that. Just because you're trying to get too much pressure, a little bit of pressure too. If you get the hit, yeah, you get a lot of damage and you get a setup off of it. But most of the time you are getting pressure, and then when you get a hit, you're reacting to it. If you do get the crush counter, you go for, more pressure obviously, and more combos and stuff like that. So, but the first thing a lot of people struggle with is people who jump. So the best tool I would use for jumpers is medium kick. After a block string they're trying to jump, medium kick is very good to basically stop them. Or medium punch too. Having really good block strings is very good against people who press buttons. This is just a general thing. People like pressing buttons after blocking. So this jab, yeah. So okay. So people press buttons a lot. You have to be aware of that, of what to do against it. So best button for Bison is probably doing jab into medium punch. Like that. Yeah. People press buttons a lot, like people like Vega players or any 3-frame character. You want to be able to make those type of block strings on them, very basically set up block strings, to get them to press buttons. You want to get them to press buttons so you get setups off of them. Obviously you get interrupted if you go for anything too much. So that's a very good block string. I made that another video, so it's very good block string to use. It's not probably like the most consistent, I'll say, because if you do get someone getting hit by the first two, it's really hard to confirm those first two buttons. You have to know that your opponent is pressing buttons, basically. So basically a tactic is that if you've seen that your opponent is very weak to lows, obviously when you first face your opponent you don't know. So you gotta pick that up right away that they're getting hit by lows, and make sure you're checking them low. There's nothing wrong with going and confirming into a Psycho Blast, because you are safe after that. It's -1, but you are safe. They can't punish you after that. Heavy makes you plus, but heavy you could easily get interrupted by a good button. I think you could get interrupted by up to a 4-frame, I believe, or a 5-frame. I think Ryu can interrupt you right away if he does a light kick. That'll punish me. Even though it's 5 frames now, it'll still punish Bison for trying to go into that. That's another good block string for Bison. It's pretty simple. It's a simple block string. And you can apply more pressure. If you have someone who grabs a lot, then you can bait grabs by doing heavy kick. That's old stuff though. We go back to like the season 2 stuff that you need to know. Alright. So now Bison has a 3 frame. Let me talk about that. So Bison has a 3 frame now, so that really helps him a lot with his pressure. And just in general, you can kind of get people off you now. But like before, when someone has a 3 frame, you have to be very solid with your meaties. Same thing goes for Bison. If you have to know your setups. After you throw someone, you gotta know if you're able to meaty someone basically at every situation. You have to know. Like if you connect, let's say, you know, you connect this. Can I meet him right away when he wakes up? Or if I dash up and try to do something, will I get interrupted? You gotta know that. You know, certain situations like that make the big difference. You know, you get an attack. You think you're safe to dash in on them. You're not. You have to be very careful. Sometimes you're wondering why when I dash up I get punished. Because you shouldn't be doing those certain things when you're... After this, you can walk up and do a Psycho Axe if you want to meet your opponent. Obviously, you have to be careful if someone has a DP. They can DP you with EX DP. Good part is no one can just throw out any type of DP. So once someone's out of meter, or someone doesn't have a DP, he either has to reversal you, or just hold your pressure for a while. I mean, it's not too bad getting hit by a Bison Psycho Axe from a distance because it doesn't do anything. He can't do anything after that. A Bison, after he hits you with this, if you block it, nothing's gonna happen. You could reversal him. He could probably, you know, you could probably go for scissors after that, but scissors is negative, so you might as well just like dash backwards. It does push if you get it like, you know, from a certain distance. The scissor kicks from a distance or whatever. You become safe. You might as well just backdash or stand there and if your opponent does something like a sweep, wait for them to do a sweep, try to catch your backdash, you punish them for trying to sweep you. So simple stuff like that you gotta know already. Before anything like that, you gotta know that. Alright. So medium kick is very good. That's like the mid-range stuff attack. You can stuff your opponents a lot using that. Alright, so very good, very good. Problem is, you know, people who jump a lot, you're gonna get caught trying to apply too much pressure. You watch good Bison players, they don't do that too much. People who disrespect the Bison players catch those players trying to get too much off of it. So you have to make sure you condition your opponent when they're trying to jump with medium kick or anything like that. You want to be able to just, you know, you're gonna condition your opponent to not press buttons. When you condition them enough, then you can start throwing in your Psycho Axes more because they have to hold it. Because they're too afraid of your medium kick. Alright. Alright, another thing is, oh yeah, that you can pressure your opponent with so before, if you use your light punch, you'll trade at the most. Your attack was, this is +1, but before in season 1 you'll get hit because you didn't have a 3 frames. So 3 frame characters are able to trade with you, and it'll completely like, it won't be completely it won't take away your pressure completely, but it will basically put both of you at a standstill, and most of the time that's like a 50-50 situation, or both players are just gonna back off and go back to neutral. So now you could just apply your pressure more if you use that. Cause your opponent to spend some meter to get you off of them. The problem is you can't link anything too much with the light kick counter hit because they nerfed I mean, they did buff his light kick, but they nerfed it. They buffed it, you know, it's 3 frames, but now you can't combo with it. Before you were able to counter the light kick into crouching medium punch, but now you can't. So now you just gotta, you know, confirm basically. If you commit, then you put your opponent away. And then they basically back here. And then, you know, from distance, use medium kick just in case they try to jump. Now you have to be careful going from medium kick into psycho axe, because your opponent could easily jump that. Sometimes I'll do medium punch. I'll do medium punch after, just in case if they try to stick out a button, I'll stuff them. Or if they jump, this will come back in time for me to block their jump kick or whatever. Alright. So, what else is there? Now you could do that a lot. And from there, if you get to confirm, you're going to a lot of damage. Alright. Another season 2 is that you can store his V skill basically. So, I mean, a lot of people know you can store it, but I want to make sure people know that you can basically do stuff with it. So after absorbing, you have a lot of options with it. If you absorb it, now you can either throw it back to pressure your opponent. Most of the time I'll use it to apply more pressure. So it's plus on block, it's a plus attack, it's a plus projectile. So you can throw it and apply pressure back on your opponent. So for example, if I absorb fireball, I can apply more pressure on him. You can combo it as well. It is a juggle as well. But most of the time I use it to pressure my opponent. So if I absorb it, sometimes... Alright. Blocking? Alright. Got him. Just want to show you what I would do. Alright. So if an opponent's blocking too much, you could use your EX ball, but I'll use this to apply more pressure. So it's a plus attack. So you can continue your pressure by using the projectile and force your opponent to have to spend meter or, you know, spend their V trigger basically. If you want to keep applying your pressure on your opponent, then you have to use your EX ball if you want to apply pressure without using your V skill. You have to use EX ball. EX ball, I think, is not that safe. You know, it is plus, but you have to be very careful because there is a little gap in between there where you could get hit, so you have to be very careful. So you could maybe just like apply just small pressure, like maybe like a devil's reverse after that. But most of the time you do go for that. Opponent jumps, you anti them, they stand there, you apply pressure. And just bait them. Sometimes I'll do that if my opponent's blocking too much. You know, I'll go like that, then I grab him. Or you can just keep grabbing them, yeah. If your opponent's blocking too much, make sure you are checking them with grab. Because Bison's grab is very good. It's long distance and it's very long. His grab is longer than anything. Or you could grab him like that. Bait him to grab. Punish the whiff grab. So in terms of like just baiting your opponent with a grab, you can use heavy kick because it can crush counter grabs. It's a very good frame trap. Obviously, you know, it was since season 1. It was always a good frame trap. You do crouch and jab into heavy kick, you know, light kick, heavy kick. Any light into heavy kick, you know, it was a frame trap. Obviously, if someone predicts it, you can interrupt it, but most of the time you're not going to predict it. It's a frame trap. Unless if you know what's coming up next, it's a frame trap. You're just going to keep getting pressured. So, yeah. So it's the same concept. Alright. Alright, so grabs, yeah. So grabbing your opponent, you can use this to bait a grab. Depending on how long your opponent's grab is, you gotta know your opponent's grab distance. So you can use heavy kick to punish. Most of the time I use heavy kick. Sometimes I'll use crouch and medium punch. I'll go. Yeah. Bison's walk speed is slow, but you know that doesn't matter. A lot of people, you can still shimmy them if you condition them. And there are a lot of people who try tech too much as well. So you gotta remember, this game was made for, you know, it's not a throwing game basically. It is a throwing game, but you don't have to You have to be very careful with your text. The thing about Bison again in season 2 is now he gets basically I believe he's more plus now after the throw. I don't really know how to explain that specifically, but basically after throwing Bison now, you can basically dash up and, you know, go for stuff out there. You can you have Oki off of Bison, basically, I mean off of any of your opponents with Bison. So after throwing them in the corner, you can dash up and throw them again. You get that set up all the time. No matter if your opponent wakes up with button, nothing. They only could tech or DP you. Or you go for like the option select where you basically you throw a meaty jab, so if they DP, it'll come out, you block the DP. If they don't, then you know they take the pressure. So that as well. Alright. And it makes just a lot of your +1 pressure a lot more just crazier because, you know, scissor kick before, if you face a 3 frame, same stuff. Can't pressure them before because you had a 4 frame, a 3 frame character will trade with you after that. So now, you know, pressure your opponent. Yeah, sometimes I do have a block string where I do that. I go into jab and then crouch and medium kick. Depending on the range, I go into scissor kick. Depending on the range, you know, I could get it a safer distance, so I can't get punished after that. Now you get a good distance from any light punish. Alright. So yeah, now he gets free setups off of that. Alright. Here we go with the thing that everybody complains about. Is the doubles reverse. I really don't understand why people complain about it. I don't think that there's any problem with the doubles reverse, honestly. I know a lot of people say that it's broken. I mean, nobody complained about it in season 1. I don't think it's that much different from season 2. Yeah, he gets a little more invincibility, but you could still anti-air it. You just can't chase it down out of the air. You can't just air to air him. You have to wait for him to come down and anti-air him. Well, a lot of players did that. That's how they dealt with it. They just anti-air him. Sometimes it will trade. Sometimes when he gets the trade, he does have an advantage over you if you get the trade. Another problem is with DP characters, he can obviously bait the DP. Sometimes I'll use heavy stomp to bait the DPs because I can go over him. Because some characters have a like very, you know, they don't have such a vertical uppercut. You know, it's kind of like, it's not horizontal, but it's like, you know, diagonal. So it doesn't, your heavy stomp will go over it. And then when you recover, then you can punish them, you know, with a crush counter attack into pressure. And then that's it, yeah. You punish them. Alright, but in terms of like blocking a doubles reverse, I'm not sure how plus it is. It really depends on how low you get it. But it can range from like really, you know, very plus. Like I've encountered, sometimes I'll use a 3 frame character and a Bison will doubles reverse me from pretty high and still be plus. You know, I'll get doubles reverse like right here. And somehow I can't even press a 3 frame. I'll still get punished. Meanwhile, Bison just pressed the medium punch and hit me. Sometimes I do bug out about that. You know, sometimes if you do block his regular doubles reverse, he is very plus. So you have to be very careful. There are doubles reverse setups as well. You know, you can set up your opponent with doubles reverse. There's many setups with doubles reverse. It's just doing it when your opponent least expects it. Basically, yeah. You have to use it at the right moment. Same with the axe. It's the same concept. You have to be very careful. You can knock out doubles reverse, the regular one. The regular one's a little more easier to knock out of the air. You know, if Bison does any like regular doubles reverse, like a madman, you can obviously air to air and knock it out. He has to use it very, you know, smart. He has to use it very well, basically, yeah. The EX you don't have to use too well. You could just throw it out kind of. That's what I kind of find Bison doing. They just throw it out. They just like, you know what, I'm losing. I need to get in, so here we go. Back here. Oh, you blocked this shit. I lost. That was a good try. Oh, but you have more meter. Oh, try again, you know. Okay, got you this time. So it's testing your luck basically with the EX double reverse. Someone tries to chase it, you get hit by it, and you get pressure anyways. Sometimes I could go for a shimmy as well. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. It really depends on how like patient my opponent is. You know, some very patient opponents do latex. They don't do it right away. Impatient opponents, like there's a lot of people online that are very impatient. They play just, you know, super, you know, fast. They don't want to, I don't know, they're just very impatient players. They can't play patient. So you gotta just know your opponent, how he is. You gotta pick up those things. If he's just chasing you down most of the time, you can play lame with Bison, but not too lame. He obviously doesn't have a projectile. You don't want to be full screen with Bison. You can't do anything. Best distance you want to be is around here. And just slowly pressuring your opponent, catching their jump-ins. A lot of people tend to jump in on Bison, I'm not gonna lie. You want to be able to fight them off with jump back jabs. Jump medium punch is a very good air-to-air option. But jump back jab is my main go-to. If someone tries to cross me up right away, and a lot of people try to cross up Bison just to get easy pressure. Now right here, jab them out, dash in. Some players are very stubborn, they'll do it again, jab them again. Anti-air them and stuff like that. So simple stuff like that really just makes a big difference. Just stuffing out your opponent. Alright. What's the deal with season 3? So there's Devil's Reverse, there's Devil's Reverse, and there's that. Nah, I'm just playing. Alright. So it's kind of what you need. That's kind of most of the stuff that you're gonna need. You know, very good block strings. Not really like too much I'll say in terms of like just beginning of Bison. You just have to have enough experience against your opponent, but at the same time know like your character as well. You know, you gotta know matchups, what matchups are good and stuff like that. That really helps. You know, you can't just go in there just doing stuff. Sometimes you do have to know matchups as well. Person has a DP, you have to play it certain ways. Don't be too stubborn with your pressure as Bison. You have to be very careful. But he is a very good character. He's very fun to use when you apply the pressure and stuff like that. So just stay solid. Basically, you don't want to take too much risk with Bison. He's very good. In V-Trigger, you're kind of in luck because it's a lot harder to kind of punish Bison out of his V-Trigger now. He's a little more invincible from it, so sometimes I would get out of a lot of situations that I wouldn't get out of in season 1. You know, before I used to, when I tried to dash by someone, they would completely, they'll basically just grab me out of it. Now you're in out of grab distance from some characters, so sometimes you can't even grab your opponent can't grab you, but you could grab your opponent. So it's kind of like messed up. So Bison is very strong now in V-Trigger. So if he dashes by you, he gets in distance where you whiff your grab, but he can grab you. So it's kind of messed up, but yeah. You have to like do a kind of a walk up and grab him, which is very hard to do. Because he can just easily, you know, 3-frame you if you try to press a button. So yeah. Oh yeah, another thing I want to explain. EX Stomp in V-Trigger used to be plus in season 1, now it's not. Now it's -1. So your opponent can press a button. Or you'll trade with a 4-frame character, you'll trade. So yeah, it really sucks for 4-frame characters. But that's just a trade situation. Yeah. So alright. So if you do want to apply pressure, if you do want to use the EX Stomp, since it's fast, the way to make it safe is canceling it. So you could cancel it into EX Scissor Kick. And then apply your pressure. Obviously your opponent blocks a lot. You can do more. And stuff like that, yeah. Just make a good solid defense on your opponent. Alright. What else is there? Turn the V-Trigger. Well, his regular stomp is plus. It is plus. I'm not sure how plus it is, but it is plus. I believe probably +1. I don't think it's anything too crazy like that. I think it is +1. Cause I'll use that like rarely though. I don't really use it because of how slow it is. No, your opponents. I mean, it's very good to use that because your opponents will mainly be waiting for you to go for this. When you're using that in V trigger, it's very punishable. You have to be very careful. You have to know what opponent you're playing against, basically. Cause risking going for this is very it's basically risky. You have to know. Like, you just have to use it at the right situation. I mean, you can try it. You know, you can test it out. You know, test your opponent a little bit by using it, but it's very bad to use because it's easy to punish. Maybe you could use that as a setup as the most, but it's very risky. I mean, I don't dash up too much. It's very risky. You just gotta know situations when you could dash up, basically. You know, sometimes I'll find, like, you know, after you knock down your opponent, obviously you could dash them after certain situations, but that's just like stuff that has already been explained, though. Alright. So, I believe I covered most of the stuff of Season 2. I know the request wasn't exactly a beginner's guide. It was more of just you know, some of the tactics I have in Season 2 with Bison. Basically wanted to know. Just basically be careful with your Psycho Axe. You can use it a lot. Use good block strings. Now you have 3 frames, so you can just shove 3 frame in people's faces. And your opponent is now afraid of you on your wake up because they know they have to have good meaties or they're going to get interrupted by a 3 frame. So once you know your opponent is like meaty timing is really doo-doo, so that means that you could just keep on waking up and 3 framing them. They have to just hold that until they get ready and train and get better at meeting you. There's nothing wrong with that. Expose your player. That's the main thing you're gonna do with Bison. You're exposing your opponent's defense. And you find a player that just jumps a lot and just doesn't want to block. You have to use your, you know, jump back jab. A lot of people are stubborn, so don't be surprised with if they just keep jumping in on you. They have to get in on you. A lot of characters don't have the, you know, stuff to basically outrange Bison. So they have to kind of like take those type of risks. Unless if you know, you like Karen, or because Karen at least could sweep, you know, your Psycho Axe. Any character that has a good, you know, distance to whiff punish Bison, then they could do stuff like that. But characters like for example, Nikali, Ryu, Ken, kind of, he has to kind of jump in, but he does have heavy kick. But characters with stubby limbs are gonna take a lot of risks, so you gotta know that. You know, Ryu, Laura kind of has stubby limbs, and nothing too. She doesn't have that much range against Bison. But Bison kind of loses that matchup because Bison doesn't have any option really against Laura's projectile. So you kind of gotta hold that pressure and just know situations with Laura. That's more of like a matchup video though. So it's just a beginner's guide. So yeah. Hopefully I explained a lot. I didn't explain like the, you know, the basics, you know, because this was just made people who were just trying to transfer in Season 2 without any trouble. And I, you know, I explained some stuff to simple stuff to just make sure, you know, people aren't making any mistakes or wondering anything. So yeah, if you are wondering any more, if I didn't, you know, discuss anything that you were struggling with, then please make sure you leave a, you know, a comment and let me know that if I missed anything. I want to make sure that, you know, every situation is solved. Basically, I want to know what's going on, and yeah. So I really appreciate when people comment, and thanks for watching. Like, subscribe for more videos, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.